This is Greyson.
Hi.
He's a horror expert. And he's never seen Cujo.
Nope. I've only seen like main clips over it.
So I made him watch it. Now he's going to review it and tell me what he thinks.
Yeah.
Welcome to I Made Him Watch, our new show on Carnage Candy, where we revisit old horror movies we should have seen but never have.
Yep.
Greyson, I am a Stephen King near expert. I was obsessive over Stephen King as a kid, and I loved Cujo. It was one of my favorites because my mom was very protective of me.
Yeah.
As you can see with my dad, Cujo was somewhat of a metaphor.
Yeah, I was about to say, I could definitely see that. Yeah, growing up with you, I understand where the Cujo came from.
Yeah, so Cujo is about a Saint Bernard, one of the best dog names of all time.
Yeah, I think Stephen King originally it was supposed to be pronounced Cujo or something like that. It was supposed to be pronounced differently.
Okay.
But then the movie came out and they called him Cujo, and even Stephen King's like, yeah, his name's Cujo now. So, So.
A sweet Saint Bernard that's about the size of a Mack truck, and
He is big.
And then we have E.T.'s mom,
Dee Wallace,
who I always call E.T.'s mom because of Scream.
Yep.
And the smallest kid ever.
That little baby, the second I saw this child, because all I've ever seen of Cujo is just Dee Wallace versus Cujo. So I've never been able to compare the child to the dog. The second this child walked on the screen, I out loud went, oh no, this poor baby. Because he looks like he's this big. He looks like he's that big on the screen.
This kid weighs about 36 pounds.
If maybe.
Yeah. And so the premise is, like all Stephen King's, it's a haunted dog, basically, in layman's terms. And this mother and child are trapped in a Pinto on the hottest day on planet Earth. And Cujo has killed everybody at the repair barn where they've gone to fix his car. And now it's a mother's fight to survive against a dog on the outside and her hyperventilating, starving and dehydrating and dying of thirst child on the inside. So let's just roll right off of it. What are your thoughts watching this for the first time?
My favorite thing about the explanation that you gave about this movie is it's everything that I knew going into the film.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much more there is to this movie.
There's a lot.
I had no clue that it took about 40 minutes of actual dialogue and story building to get to Cujo killing somebody.
Yeah. I think it establishes the family first, and then like the kids fear monsters. The dad's busy.
And the mom's having an affair.
Yes.
Did not know that was going to happen in this film at all.
Is she having an affair with the uncle from My Girl?
No, it's not him, but it is.
I always thought it was.
When I saw this guy, I went, oh, you're 80s hot.
Yeah.
So, like, his jeans go all the way up.
Yeah.
He got the chest hair blaring out, always got his shirt off, really shaggy hair.
Yeah.
But the second he walks in, the first time you see him, he is the guy that, I guess he's friends with the dad because they play tennis together, but he also works on stuff for him as well.
Yeah.
So as soon as he enters the picture, there's immediate tension between Dee Wallace and him. Like as soon as they see each other, it's they're messing around.
Yeah.
Something bad's happening. And the dad, even though he's busy, you can't help but say, man, he's a good dad.
Yeah.
Like he's coming in and helping his son as much as he can.
Yeah.
But the first table scene that you get with all of them made me realize how dumb I was to wait to watch this movie for so long, because I knew just from that spot I was in for something special.
Yeah, it feels like an 80s movie.
It does. It feels like an 80s movie with a lot more heart than a lot of the cheesy 80s movies. It definitely is a more adult one because there's a lot more adult themes in this film.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, the family dynamic and all the cheating and stuff going on. But you go from that scene to them playing tennis and then them be like, oh yeah, tough game out there, huh? Okay. And then it cuts right back to them talking about the monsters in the closet. And you continually build up this when is it going to happen moment with Cujo, because you see at the beginning he gets bit. And then
Poor guy.
Yeah, it is
so
sad.
sweet.
He's just chasing a bunny and he gets bit. But then you don't see Cujo again for 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, they kind of bury him.
They
right?
do. And the only reason you see him is whenever they go to the mechanic that the mailman tells them to go and see because it's cheaper. I always thought that Cujo was their dog. I did not know that it was the mechanic's dog.
Oh, okay.
So I was waiting the whole time for Cujo to be in the room with the child or to be roaming around the house.
As a kid, so it's like you go into NTV, North Texas Video, Gilly Wilson,
Yep.
rest in peace.
Yep.
And it's you're in the section that has all the Stephen King movies, and it's like, oh yeah, Tommy Knockers and and you know, Needful Things.
The
is on
Shining.
the show. The Shining is in the big box, and then it's like, Cujo, what's that, mommy? And she goes, that's about an evil dog.
And the cover has the dog like barking with the bluish background.
And so you think it's about a dog chasing people through a city.
Yeah.
You think it's gonna be like Alligator.
Yeah, which is what the director directed.
Yeah.
He directed that, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What a guy.
He directed that, and then after Cujo, he directed Cat's Eye.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, but instead of like other '80s cheese fest, they Jawsify it and they isolate the characters.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I didn't think about that, because Jaws is the exact same way. You get a little bit at the first, and then you don't see anything for.
Yeah. Of course, people in Jaws die out of stubbornness.
Yeah.
They could have just sailed back. You know?
Yeah.
But anyways, so but yeah, as a kid, I was like, even as a kid, I was the same. I was like, oh man, this is way worse.
It is. So you get to the point where they get to the mechanic's house, and you see the mechanic and his family. So when they show up and Cujo comes running up, there's that first fear of, here he comes. Is it gonna start now? Because we're 35 minutes in, 40 minutes in. Is this where it's going to happen? Is he about to show up and just start wrecking everybody here?
Yeah.
Because I don't really know what outfit or anything Dee Wallace is in, because the scenes that I've seen Dee Wallace in, she's torn to shreds.
Yeah,
like all of her gear.
She's
bloody and muddy and just muck all over and goo. So Cujo comes rolling up, and the son who owns Cujo, who's the sweetest little kid ever, is just telling him, oh, don't be afraid, Cujo loves kids. And I immediately am going, oh no, they're gonna make me hate everything that's gonna happen to this poor dog, because he's so sweet. And I know that the mechanic is gonna be a piece of trash, because it just gives that feeling.
he's coded as dirtbag,
And then you see the mother of the family of the mechanic, who is plucking a chicken in a bucket.
Yeah, they country.
Yeah, they're super country. You have that moment with Dee Wallace and her. So whenever this happens and they test out the car and you see that Dee Wallace is starting to have regrets of her family, I'm thinking to myself, okay, they're just going to focus on Dee Wallace going and, ending the affair. Did not expect them to go into the mechanic's family now.
Yeah.
So then they go into the mechanic's family and you see that they're also having trouble.
Yeah.
She has apparently won a lotto. Bought a new hydraulic stand for the mechanic.
It was like a modest lotto.
Yeah, $5,000.
Yeah, one of the
which
craziest.
at that time was huge.
Yeah,
like $5,000 in '82, I think, is when this movie's filmed. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But still. So this happens, and she says she wants to go see her sister. Just go pay a little visit to her sister.
It's like, I know where she goes.
I know what this is about to turn into. All the time this is happening, you start to see the transformation of Cujo. You start realizing he doesn't like the loud noises.
I know, man. It's
And
so brutal.
it really hurts, because what I love what they do in this film is they make you feel for Cujo the whole time.
Yeah.
Because they show that even though Cujo's a dog, Cujo still knows that there's something wrong with him, and he's scared.
Yeah, and that's crazy to think that in the book they treat Cujo like a human character.
Yeah.
And they talk about how the sounds, he just can't take it.
And they do a good job of that in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, they do a really good job of that.
It's surprisingly effective on screen.
It is. So you have the scene with the mechanic and his next door neighbor, who is just the trashiest person ever.
That guy's gross.
And they're talking about Cujo and how you could tell the mechanic loves Cujo.
Yeah.
Like he's a piece of trash, but he still loves that dog.
Yeah.
And his buddy is just saying how Cujo would never hurt anybody. I'm not scared of him. He's a big fluff ball.
Yeah.
Cut to about 10 minutes later, and you have the funniest and also most terrifying dog attack scene I think I've ever seen on film.
That hallway reminds me so much of Texas Chainsaw,
It does.
right?
It really does.
Staircase
That whole house in
Yeah.
that setting reminds me of Texas Chainsaw, with
Yeah.
him throwing all the trash into the trash bin, which is just a pile outside of his house. And then Cujo showing up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
just
he kind of
rolling
comes.
up.
Yeah, and I love that it doesn't take him long to understand that he's about to die.
Yeah, he knows, because he knows how sweet Cujo is,
Yeah.
he picks up something's very wrong with this dog.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on like what they did to that dog? Because like I was like, man,
They put a lot of muck on that dog. A lot.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for that dog. Tiff was telling me that apparently the dog was very loved on the set and was taken care of, but still, it did give me that weird ick.
Yeah, it's like a early genesis of PETA time to probably start paying closer attention to what's happening.
For sure.
But it's almost like, but his sacrifice gives us an incredible movie.
It does. And in the fight with the neighbor, he throws Cujo off of him, and they show the dog hit the ground, it's sad because you can tell that the dog is very confused on what happened, because as soon as it pops up and it looks up, it looks directly at it looks like it looks at the camera. Like, hey, what's going on here? What's this all about? I wouldn't pay for this. I wouldn't pay for that.
Hey, that one was
that was real.
That had too much pepper.
I'm acting here.
There's one take of that. That's all.
That's all you get.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm gonna be Cujo for real.
I've talked to my cousin. He was Beethoven. I don't play this game. Beethoven wasn't even out yet.
Yeah.
But he hides in the house, and Cujo breaks in, and this is the moment where I realized if I had watched this as a child, I probably would have had a fear of dogs.
Yeah.
Like, I really do think I would have been terrified of St. Bernards, because he breaks through that door and just tears this guy to shreds.
Yeah.
And it's cheesy but brutal in the same way.
Yeah, I think it's like hell, even like like Suspiria or something.
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
Oh, that's cheesy. I'm very unsettled.
Yeah, 100%. After all that happens, Cujo gets his first kill. You then see, I'm probably a little out of order on here, but it's in the same area.
Yeah.
The mom is breaking off the affair. The dad sees those two talking outside, and it's finally fully clicking. You could tell he knows something's wrong in the whole film.
He kind of takes his business trip a little bit harder. Like he's like, I'm a business trip real good right now. So the dad kind of checks out, and I kind of want to move into this second and third act. So mom rolls up. Cujo has eventually slaughtered anybody else that's in the way.
So Cujo has killed the mechanic and the mechanic's best friend at this point, and is just kind of hanging out at the house.
Yeah, he doesn't really have anywhere else to go.
No, he's hanging out, just wanting it to be quiet. That's
nice
it.
and quiet.
It is.
So this Pinto as a setting, and I want to talk about how much did you love how hot and miserable and tiny that car felt?
They do an extremely good job of making sure you know how horrible this whole situation is. Whether it's the heat, they show the heat waves coming off of the ground and in the distance.
It's so dry.
You can feel how hot the leather is in that, which is what I love. And them, having to take off their clothes. The part that I didn't even think about was, what do they do to go to the restroom?
Exactly, yeah.
And they show they just have to be extremely quiet to do it. I never thought about that before. You're stuck in a car. What are you going to do? You're in here for probably multiple days. But the small Pinto, it is one of the most terrifying locations in a horror movie ever.
Yeah, they're just
one of, not the, but definitely one of.
They're just getting cooked alive.
Yeah,
and just the sweat, and then there's a scene where I think he's experiencing hypothermia. I think that's what happens is your body gets
I thought it was a heat stroke. Is what
Yeah,
it said.
it's like it's like there's something that happens with thirst and heat. I could be wrong, but I think in the book it describes it as hypothermia because your body does like the opposite. It's trying to cool itself off so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, when that kid starts to like wheeze and choke and she starts cussing at him and like hitting him.
Yeah, screaming at him to wake up.
Yeah. Like Dee Wallace is acting her ass
Dee
off.
Wallace is the best. I would say Dee Wallace is the best thing about this movie besides Cujo.
Yeah, yeah.
Now the kid does act very well, and it does make you feel like there's a child in danger. I will say that.
Yeah.
Good on that actor. But Dee Wallace puts everything together in this movie. And the reason why I love her so much is she is somebody who knows she is messed up. And the whole time that this is going on, I don't know if you're supposed to feel this or not, but it almost makes you feel like she is kind of accepting the punishment because of what she's done.
Yeah, yeah, and thematically in the book, that's exactly what
Oh,
happened.
is that okay?
Thematically in the book, she is thinking that like, you know, I believe she starts going a little crazy and kind of hallucinating from the heat, and she like kind of in pictures like, oh, this is a hell that's been created for me because I cheated on my husband, right? So when there's this thing that happens kind of like towards the end where Tad,
Yes.
he won't shut up. And he's so hysterical and terrified.
Are you talking about whenever she gets attacked?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the camera is spinning around in the car?
Exactly. And so as a viewer, you start to get annoyed by the kid and how loud and how he won't just chill the fuck out. And it's just like, and then you start to feel guilty as a viewer. And it reminds me of like, I don't know, like, it kind of reminds me like, let's say Chelsea's sick, right? And she gets annoyed with you.
Yeah.
And like you're taking, and like, or your girlfriend or your wife or your husband, and you're taking care of them, but then they're not feeling good, so they treat you bad while you're helping them, and then you start to resent them.
Yep.
That like weird dynamic kind of happens in the movie, and her mom's getting attacked, or just anytime Cujo is clawing at the car, Tad is just high pitched wailing,
which he should be.
Yeah.
He's only 6 years old, and there is a dog that could eat him in one bite. Trying to get in.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my God, I hate you. I understand everything that you're upset about, but I hate you. And I feel bad for that. But I think that's like one of my favorite parts about the movie itself. But.
So back to the Pinto, and something I was just thinking about. The thing that makes the Pinto even worse is that since the back of the Pinto is all glass, it's that big glass thing, you're just sitting in a magnifying glass.
Yeah, I know.
So it's literally nowhere you go, you can't get away.
Yeah.
You're always burning. But what I really appreciate towards the end of this film is how they will sit there and they'll have you in the car with the family and Cujo, and then they'll shoot over to the dad. Because the dad doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He left, and he's already angry because nobody's picking up the phone at the mechanic's house or at their home.
Yeah.
So he's mad, thinking that there's an affair going on, and you can't help as a viewer just being like, just go. Just go check on him. Just go check on him. But how is he supposed to know there's a St. Bernard attacking his family?
Yeah. And then, like, he could also be thinking, like, you know what? To hell with her.
Exactly. And in that situation with what he's going through, he'd be like, yeah, I mean, I understand why you would think that way, I guess. But they also decide, hey, that guy she was having an affair with, let's throw him in one last time and make just the creepiest scene you've ever seen of him walking in the house and rubbing his fingers across the knives.
Yeah.
And it made me think, if she was asleep in the house, was he going to kill her?
Yeah, in the book, he jacks off all over the bed.
Oh.
And then tears the covers up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I was definitely in the right mindset of thinking that he was up to
He leaves a surprise for her.
Which he does tear up the house. The dad comes home and sees that. And then the dad decides to tell him, hey, go check out the mechanic's house. I told them to go there to fix the Pinto. So this sheriff rolls out there, and I don't think I've ever seen somebody just get their ass whooped as bad as this sheriff.
Yeah.
Cujo beats the the fire out of this guy.
Yeah, and he's got that old timer, that old timer Smith and Wesson.
Yeah, he tried to pull on that, and
He's got the first revolver ever.
Cujo straight up hit me. Just disarmed him immediately.
Yeah, he pulled a piece of Cujo in.
He does, basically.
You just see this ball go. Yeah, and but it obviously brings the gun into play. For the third act. So obviously D. Wallace is like, okay, kid's gonna die. Here it comes.
He starts to have another heat stroke, and she realizes, I have minutes before my baby's about to die.
Yeah.
And something that's also terrifying is whenever she looks over, she sees Cujo still tearing up the sheriff.
Oh yeah,
in the background, which is horrific looking, because you just see this doll just shaking in the back. So she decides, you know what? I'm a mama bear this. This dog's going down. I'm getting in that house, because she notices that she can get into the house to help her child.
Yeah.
And she gets out there and finds a baseball bat, and it's on. She doesn't care. It's not about running. It's 1v1. Cujo versus the mom.
Yeah.
Round 2. Here we go.
And when I watched it as a kid, I was like, that's what my mom would do.
She beats the piss out of Cujo with that bat. God.
Hell yeah.
She is swinging away.
Yeah.
It is.
Cujo's like, oh! Oh!
Cujo took one hit and went, ow! Oh, that don't feel good. So she ends up hitting Cujo so hard she breaks the bat on Cujo.
Yeah.
Cujo
is nasty
at this point. He is 99% muck.
Yeah.
There's pus, there's dirt, there's some other sticky goo all over.
Yeah. His eyes are bleeding.
He is full on mid-demon transformation.
Yeah.
So as this fight is coming to its conclusion, Cujo goes to jump on the mom for the finale, and she just sticks that broken bat in him.
Yeah.
And man, the relief I had watching this film, because I will tell you right now, this is how I always thought Cujo died, because this is what I saw. I did not know what else I was in for as the movie went on. I should have known, because of when this movie came out. So you then get it's probably about 5 minutes of running back to the car, getting the kid in the house, checking on him, the dad driving as fast as he can to get to them, and Dee Wallace acting her ass off again, begging this kid to come back to life, giving him, CPR, throwing water on his face, throwing it on his body.
This kid fits in the palm of her hand.
Whenever she runs up,
this kid is a basketball.
Pretty much. She's one arming coming into the house, and that's this poor baby. But she finally gets the kid back, and she's crying. And she's so happy, and I'm thinking to myself, cool, the dad's gonna get there. They're gonna have that really cheesy ending. Boom! Cujo through the window. I will admit I jumped, because I had it. I was like, "Oh, Cujo's back!"
Yeah, you're kind of excited.
I am. There's a part of me thinking, man, he took a bat to the gut, and he's back in here. He's been beaten to death, and he came back. And then she just shoots him. Yeah, it's over. I was like, I was hoping for an in-house chase. Then the dad rolls up, and I'm expecting them to talk or, a nice, some sort of ending. No. He rolls up, he goes up the stairs, and he does like this, and the movie ends.
Yeah, I know.
It's just done.
It's so
you have been
weird.
through enough. You don't need any more. The dog is dead. You're done.
I like to really think that the actor that played the dad didn't want to get dirty, so they didn't want to film the hug, or something weird. But he was just like,
and that's it. It's just credits.
And then that weird 70s or 80s, like 70s music plays. But I think it's just like it's basically a cut to black as close as you can get. But I like to think that maybe he sees her and realizes that she's been through enough.
I saw it as when he saw her, he knew that no matter what, she will be there for that baby, and that's all that matters. Yeah. So I took it as he saw what she went through. We're good.
Yeah.
You
it's okay,
you have
honey.
nothing to worry about. You saved our baby. I love you. That's that's all I needed, and that's great. That's a good ending. I personally don't think you needed anything more. It was just kind of shocking to see that just.
It is jarring, but I also don't have an issue with it, especially with it being a thing of the time.
No, not at all.
So in the book, it's weird because it was different because she takes the bat sliver, and when Cujo jumps at her, she goes.
Oh, in the eye?
Yeah, into his head.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then like.
It is harder to show that in a film.
Yeah, the dog would have to be coming at her. Like, that's how I pictured it. And then Ted dies.
Yeah, I was talking to Tiff about. I know in the book that Ted died. I think from the dehydration in the car. But is that how the book just ends? Is he just
and then
dies?
the dad gets to her, and then like it's just like a real terrible nightmare. It's like really sad and horrible, and it's like, oh my god, okay. And then it's like audiobook over. This was a Penguin Publishing, and I was like, oh, okay.
Stephen King was on some stuff back then.
No, he really was.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was definitely doing cocaine and drinking a lot. Did he write this before or after Pet Sematary?
This is after Pet Sematary. I think, yeah. This was because he did like a Castle Rock trilogy, so I think Needful Things and Cujo, and there's another book, but all the characters kind of appear. And I think this is the end of the sheriff, who is another prominent character in another Stephen King book. So that sheriff is actually...
the sheriff that dies to Cujo?
Yeah.
Really?
I believe so. There's some kind of dynamics happening there. I said pseudo Stephen King expert. Don't come at
I
me.
was actually going to ask you this. When the boy is talking about the monster that he sees in the closet, is that supposed to be like a reference to Pennywise?
Oh, I don't think it had been written yet, because it was like...
Was it after that?
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure.
It was in the later, I think 86 or 87 or something like that. I think it was in the later 80s.
The Book of Cujo, did it come out in the 70s?
I don't know. Would have to look. I can look though, for the sake of video.
Yeah, because the whole time that he's talking about the monster in the closet, I thought that he was referencing Pennywise.
Yeah, the novel was 81, and then it was
probably like mid 80s, right?
I thought so. Yeah.
But I know that it's
yeah, it was 86.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
cool. I know that he's basically just setting up for the monsters. Cujo.
Yeah, coming later. So, but yeah, so Cujo as Spectacular Time. If you had to score it, what would you give Cujo?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Man, I'd probably give it a 10.
You give Cujo a 10?
I would. I was going to tell you this after I watched it. I think I will make Cujo a yearly watch. Like, I really do, because of how good it is. Just the acting and the setting and the music, everything in this film just forms, in my opinion, a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's like Greyson coded, because it's, I think your sweet spot is like 79 to like 80, 88.
Yeah, it
probably
is.
Like your favorite.
And I do have
time period.
I do have a love of horror from 95 to 04.
Yeah.
Like that's my second period of, there's a lot of really good horror movies that I think a lot of people didn't watch in that time. But Cujo is a film that, had I watched it before now, probably would have been number 4 or 5 on my list of horror movies. I like it that much, just because of, I feel kind of like you did. If my mom was in that situation, she probably would have done the same thing to protect me. And coming from a single mom and everything, like,
that's pretty hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
But if you like this, we're going to be doing, our next episode will be myself reviewing The Descent. I've never seen The Descent.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about
Grayson
this.
has made me watch that, so stick around. And we want you to check out our Fear Street review, which you can go watch. Just hit Netflix, and make sure to go to patreon.com/hangtime and support content just like this via Patreon if you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.